Hello and welcome to Taylor Talks Comics Live. We are back. Taylor's back, in theory. Very fine something. Who is that? We've devolved from near mint condition to very fine condition to very fine something. I don't know who that is, but yes, I am Taylor of Taylor Talks Comics, and we are live and in person, in color. Thank you guys for joining me. Let me make sure I got my second screen going here. Dun, dun, dun. Just make sure everything's looking good. Can everybody hear me okay? Maybe. Loud and clear. Okay. Sorry. My second screen was not working okay. So, yes, I'm back. And for the foreseeable future, I will be live on Wednesdays at noon. Taylor Talks Comics live every Wednesday. You can mark it on your calendar and expect that. So this is a show that I was doing. This is the 20th episode, as you can see from the title there. I was doing it regularly for 19 or so weeks. I think I had a couple weeks off there before the summer, and then summer hit. My wife's a teacher. My son is a student in school, and the summers are pretty busy for us. So just I don't know. I just took the summer off from it, and then I'm back, and but that doesn't mean the content stopped. I did have some content coming out throughout the summer, especially my Spielberg video, which blew up. The Spielberg 1941 video, which if you haven't seen it yet, you should. Is my video about the 1941 comic. Oh, here it is. And how crazy and wild it was. And I just found out this morning that Rick Veitch and Steve Bissette actually shared my video on their personal Facebook page, on each of their personal Facebook pages, which is amazing. It was an honor that they even watched my video, but the fact that they thought it was good enough to share on their own personal Facebook pages was pretty awesome. I knew Rick Veitch had watched it because I had a viewer who I think goes by the name of Harvey Picar's Ghost, if he's in the house. He messaged me and said that I forget where he saw it. I don't know. I can't remember where he saw. No, actually, you know what it was? Never mind. Harvey Picar's Ghost was messaging me about it, but it was a different entity altogether messaged me on Twitter about saying that they watched the video and they shared it with Rick because they had worked with Rick Veitch at some conventions in the past, and that Rick Veitch had expressed to them that he was wondering why he had sold so many copies of 1941 off his personal website recently, and now he understands why. So that was really cool that I found out that Rick Veitch watched it, and also that there was a point in time in the past month where Rick Veitch was wondering why he was selling so many of these off his website all of a sudden, and it was due to my video. And we should what if we want to talk about comics? Long live Lego. It's Lego. You're not even saying it right. The plural of Lego is Lego. Do you even Lego, Josh? Do you even Lego? No, we banned him to the Shadow Realm. That ghost is busted. Ooh, that's actually a good reference to Dan Aykroyd is in this movie. Also a Ghostbuster. I see what you did there. Sorry, I'm trying to get my setup here going. And I do have some videos. I don't have anything planned as far as like topics go today. So if you want to talk about Lego or something or whatever you want to talk about, I figured we would just I've died on dumber hills, Legos. If you guys want to talk about anything, we can. I just wanted to kind of catch up with you guys, and then I will have stuff prepared going forward. I just wanted to kind of ease my way back into the weekly schedule. But as far as content goes on my channel, I just got a box in from OPB, organicpricebooks.com, which I guess I can, let's do this here. Which, if you want to save $2 off of every order over at organicpricebooks.com, you can use Taylor Talks Comics, all one word, to save $2 off your order. Or if you plan on putting in a larger order with organicpricebooks.com, a order of 4 or more books, you want to use my other promo code, which is TTC Ship It Together, all one word, TTC Ship It Together, and they'll save you 5% off of your order. So they just sent me a book or a set of review copies for me to review. So there'll be some reviews of artist editions coming out soon. I think I've got Batman Year One, which is I'm super stoked about. That's anybody that's been watching my content or seen me on other channels know that that's my most anticipated book of 2024. So I will. That one, that video will either come out tomorrow or what's today? Wednesday. Tomorrow or Friday will be the Batman Year One Artist Edition overview. And I know other channels have done that overview. I wish I would have got it a little bit sooner, but you know, them's the breaks, as they say. But please watch mine as well and share it with your fellow folks. I'm going to try to put some effort into that video to where I show off the absolute editions too, do some page comparisons and things. Maybe offer a little bit something different that I haven't seen some of the other channels do that have shared that video. So I have the Batman Year One Artist Edition. I have the Dave Cockrum X-Men Artist Edition to show off, and the Todd McFarlane Spider-Man one. They sent me that one as well, Artist Edition to show off. And then if you saw my video yesterday, Living the Line sent me out some books to show off on the channel, and I've been reading those. Living the Line's an awesome publisher you guys should try out and check out. But I showed off some of these on my video yesterday, so check that video out. But Centralia, The Exile, and Moonray. This is the one I'm most excited about. This is Brandon Graham's latest project, Moonray, which is his like sci-fi epic that he's doing, which I still don't know how many volumes this is going to be. I know volume 3 comes out soon. And then Plaza by Yokoyama Yuchi. It's a manga. And then there's a couple other ones I have upstairs because I'm reading them. Like The Abolition of Man, the first ever all AI comic, which is controversial, and that's gonna be an interesting video I do on my channel as well. And then the most recent title, UFO. Let me see. UFO Mushroom Invasion is the latest manga they came out with from Living the Line, which you'll see on that future video as well. So we're gonna do separate videos on all of those. So thank you to Living the Line for sending out those books to me. And I also have some other publishers that have reached out, and I've reached out to them and reached out to, we're talking. So I'm talking to some other publishers about some advanced copies and things. So that's going to kind of guide the future content on the channel as well. Let's see. Let's catch up on some more. Any books excited in the next few months? Yes, that's a great topic. I'll get to that in just a second. Where are the Legos at, bro? Dom of X. Actually, do I have anything? I don't. I do have the Seinfeld set, Lego set that my wife got me, and I used to have it on display with my books. I'm going to get that back out. And then also I had the Aston Martin James Bond car as a Lego. That's a smaller one though. Like it's not like a huge. The one I want, the Lego set I really want is the DeLorean from Back to the Future. That's the Lego set I really want. Oh dang, that's a lot of artist editions. Yes, I love artist editions. I've shown them off on my video quite a bit, and I look forward to continue doing that. The one I'm really looking forward to the reprint of the Daredevil Born Again by Matt Mazzucchelli artist edition. I think that reprint comes out next year. Thank you, Dom. Yes, Dom. Thank you for joining me. By the way, Dom of X, the just announced he is with Near My Condition officially in an official capacity. And also Domovex, great YouTuber. Go subscribe to his channel. He's getting closer to 2,000 subscribers. Last time I talked, well, not I guess on the last time, a couple weeks ago, I was on a video with him where he's like, "Yeah, just hit 500. I'm looking to get 2,000," and his channel's blown up since then. So go check out Domovex on YouTube. Mike, the year one artist edition is magnificent. I don't even make YouTube videos, and I want to make one. Looking forward to yours. I appreciate that. Yeah, I haven't even opened mine yet. Like the plastic's still on it. I opened the other two artist editions I talked about, but the Batman year one, I feel like it's going to be like almost like a religious experience. I'm looking forward to it. I did start watching one person's video on it because it's the first one I saw, and I just wanted to see what it looked like. And I think it was just it was just a flip through, so they weren't even talking or anything. But I could already tell that the Chip Kidd book design for it, because Chip Kidd was the one that designed the book, already brought something different and special to it that's not there for other artist editions. So I'm really looking forward to it. Just a heads up, Moonray is based off the video game. Oh, I didn't know that. So like that's interesting. So the story itself is based off the same story in the video game? That's interesting. Apparently I need to do more research. Thank you, Chris, for that. Good morning, Sleepy Reader. Good morning to you. Fourth act. Act 4, is that what you're talking about? The publisher? Scott Dune Beers publishing company. We can certainly talk about that. That's there was times this summer where I almost like jumped on and did a live because I was so excited about something. Scott Dune Beers announcement about what they were publishing with Act 4 was certainly one time I almost jumped on once they dropped those announcements. And then some of the San Diego Comic-Con, the actual comic related news I almost jumped on for, but I didn't. But yes, Act 4 by Scott Dune Beers, definitely a publishing company I've got my eye on. Any news on when you, Dom, will be back on Omnidog's Vault, or did Jess forget to set a date for live collected editions for September? I guess we are nearing the end of the month, right? I don't know. That's a good question. I did enjoy that the last two months. I did a stream with Dom of X and Webhead. Excuse me. I'm coming off of sickness too. I was sick at the end of last week, and it really put me down for a few days, and I'm still in the midst of that. So I apologize. My voice sounds funny, but yeah, we did a stream together. I think we did. Yeah, it was Saturday morning for Omar when Omar was over in Japan. We did a stream as Webhead, Dom of X, Omnidog, and I, and then following that, they did the collected editions for whatever month that was. I guess July, if my months are right. And we had so much fun that I couldn't do that later one that day, but they said that they wanted to bring me back the next month for the upcoming collected editions video, and we did that, and it was a blast. I always love being on Omnidog's Vault. Jess reaches out to me from time to time to ask me if I'm open, and anytime that I'm available, I will always jump on to Omnidog's Vault. He's one of my favorite channels to be on, but I can't always fit into my schedule. So hopefully, if he's planning on something, he'll get to me soon. There have been times when he's asked me like the day of, like, "Hey, I had someone drop out. Can you jump on?" And I'm not able to, but I hope to. I do love doing the shows. I love talking to Chris, Webhead, and Dom, two of the voices on YouTube that I've been enjoying speaking to. I've been on a few channels lately too. I've been on Near My Condition. I was on this past Monday talking about the upcoming independent releases, the non-Marvel DC releases in the catalog for, I think it was November previews. And then I did Omnidog's Vault. I was on Brave and the Boys YouTube channel last month over there with Jake. Actually, that whole episode was about artist editions. I showed off some. It's kind of cool. It was the first time I ever set up the microscope camera, as I call it, where the way I normally do all my videos with the overhead camera, I was able to set it up on the live and show off a bunch of artist editions and stuff too. I was trying to, there's an episode to pitch on why you should buy the Batman Year One Artist Edition. It was like the week it came out, I think, and I show out of some other books that Chip K designs and talk about how his book design is like second to none, and the kind of things that he does with Jeff Spear with photography in his books, and then shut off some artist editions. So go on the Brave and the Boys YouTube channel on the live tab, and you can find that video. I think the thumbnails of me holding the Rocketeer artist edition. So if you're looking for that, what will be some of your October reads? Well, Elon, great question. I am planning something really, really big for October, and I've already started. So my October reads, or Spooktober, or horror comics. I don't want to say exactly what I'm doing. Just know that you need to subscribe if you're watching this. Hit that bell notification icon to make sure that you are notified of all my videos. In October, if you're into horror comics, you're going to want to follow this space because there will be a lot of content related to horror comics and stuff that I'm already starting. I've already got videos recorded and in the can for that. So as far as my Spooktober reads of me getting into the mood and the theme of October, I think all of my reading is going to happen before October, so I have content ready to go. And then in October, it'll be kind of weird for me because then I won't be reading as much horror stuff. But if that's something you guys are into, get ready because this channel is going to be your place to go for horror comic content this October. Very fine something. Dumb. Don't trust Omar. He hates America. Oh, I do not. I do not share the opinions of this YouTuber. I don't sue me, Omar. Well, I mean, is Act Fourth talking to you? Oh, Act Four. Sorry. No, I've been in contact with Scott Dunbier on a limited basis, but I think they're still early in the stages. I hope to do some stuff with him. I hope to interview Scott. I'd love to have Scott on my channel. But as far as like advanced copies and stuff, they haven't gotten to the printers with their first books and stuff. So I think it's a little bit too early to go into that. But I don't want to mention which publishers I'm talking to because I want to make sure things are official. I don't want things to fall through. But one of them seems like a pretty sure thing. And then a couple other ones are looking into things, I guess, to get back to me. Oh, okay. Sorry. Your voice sounds as soothing as Barry White. Thank you. Okay. Maybe the sickness made my voice better. When are you going to leave Omar? He drags Kirby's name in the mud whenever he can. You can do better. I think now it's like a bit, isn't it? The funny thing about that is, Omar, when I first started watching his channel, would say things like, I don't really need Jack Kirby's art oversized, so I'm fine just getting trade paperbacks of his material. Like, I'm not the biggest Kirby fan. And he would say, I respect and recognize his contributions, but I'm not a big fan. And then slowly through the years, he's become a bigger and bigger legit fan. He got the absolute editions for Fourth World and things. But now it's like a bit that he makes fun of me about loving Kirby so much and how much viewers like you, Josh, and things get on him about Kirby. But if I leave him, I'm afraid that any sort of influence I have to get him to like Kirby even more will go away. So you kind of need to, stay in the line of fire and kind of fight that battle, right? Come on, give me one book for October. Okay, that's fair. One book for October. I think Dwellings by Jay Stevens is what I think is probably the best horror comic that came out this year. Came out a nice hardcover by Oni Press. And I'll give you another one that I'm currently reading is Providence by Alan Moore and Jason Burrows. So I'll give you two. How about that? Come at me, Omar, aka he gives me more grief than the king. What's the best thing you've read recently? Great question. I've been reading a lot lately too. So when I say I took the summer off from live shows, I was not taking the summer off from reading comics, that's for sure. Let me go to my Goodreads real fast and see recent stuff I've read. To not, I won't spoil any October content. I guess Superman. No, the Lobo Compendium was great. I did read that, and I did a video on that. That book, I knew I was gonna love it, but it kind of blew me away how much how much fun I had reading it. So I did love that. I did love this book. I just read this recently, Hog Book and Laser Eyes. It's a book by Maria Bamford and Scott Marvel Cassidy. Maria Bamford is a comedian. She's pretty big comedian in LA, and I think she even has a show on Netflix called Lady Dynamite. So this book though is about her and Scott's relationship and how they got together on a dating website. But the whole book is told through the eyes of their pets. So those are their dogs right there. And the name Hogbook and Laser Eyes, those were their usernames on the dating website they met on. One of them was Hogbook and one was Laser Eyes. So it's a pretty cool book. It's a little thin guy from Fantagraphics, $19.99 cover price. But if you want a good little modern day love story told through the eyes of pets, it's a fun one. If you want a preview to some of the books that I'm showing off, Elon, in October, I did do some library hauls recently where I've been checking out any of my recent haul videos have been acting as previews for upcoming content. So if you're wanting a sneak peek, there you go. You heard we were getting a second Dwellings in October? No? New Dwellings? Hold on a second. Is that real? I thought it was done with the series. Dwellings, J. Stevens. Is he really revisiting the series? Let me see here. Where was it announced? And why didn't you message me about this? I figured this would be like important stuff to message me about. The only thing I've seen recently from Jay Stevens is his stuff he's doing with the EC Comics stuff with Oni Press. I need more information, Josh. Thank you. That Lobo book is coming in on Friday for me. Yes. Josh said that I was at fault for making him buy that book, which is the greatest compliment I could ever receive from anybody. Is whenever they're like, "Hey, thank you for doing that overview. I'm going to buy the book now." Yeah. So, Elon, I'm glad you're asking me, but October's going to be big. Here's the thing: I do want to also preview is that the genre of horror, I think, is way more vast than some people give it credit to. So some people only think of horror as like it scares me or whatever. Or when they think of like horror movies or horror comics, they might think of like this very specific kind, like slasher flicks or ghosts or something. So one thing I'm going to be showing off throughout October is all the different types of horror you can get, and including like surreal horror, like David Lynch, Cronenberg style horror, which I think some cartoonists have done a great job of, like Daniel Klaus in Like a Velvet Glove Cast in Iron, and Charles Burns' The Black Hole, I think are really great surreal horror or even body horror comics. And oh, thank you, James. And then even like stuff for kids, I think could be like even like Halloween themed stuff for kids. Like Carl Barks has done a few really good Halloween series, and so I just want to show off all the different facets of horror. So there'll also be your classic blood and guts, gore, and kind of stuff too in some of the stuff I show off. But it's gonna be that's the whole point of it. Is it's gonna be a vast exploration of what horror can be. Yeah, so there's the Dwellings All Hallows Eve special number 1 on October 9th. Dwellings, let me look this up. All Hallows Eve special. Let me see here. It was announced at San Diego Comic-Con, apparently. Let me see here. Yes, okay. Why don't I share my screen and show this off to the class here. Share screen. Do-do-do-do. Let me make sure that's showing up good. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. All right, so this is I'm looking at firstcomicsnews.com, and this press release came out July 22nd. So I guess they announced this at San Diego Comic-Con. Brand new All Hallows Eve special for Halloween and Dwelling's second stories in 2025. So the town where every piece of candy is just a razor blade waiting to be revealed. Oh, what a great tagline. So there's the cover there. In advance of San Diego Comic-Con, Oni Press, the multi set blood-curdling return before the series mounts its full-scale resurrection with the first issue of an all-new limited series Dwelling second story is number 1 in 2025. So October 9th, they return in the All Hallows Eve special number 1 will be a self-contained 40-page introduction to the terrifyingly tranquil streets of Dwellings that Dwellings calls home, as seen through the eyes of visitor Wolfgang Legant. But Wolfgang is no ordinary tourist. He's convinced he's actually a seasoned vampire hunter. The Saturday morning meets the Stroke of Midnight retro cute horror is back just in time for tricks and treats. And then here's the cover of the second stories issue. J. Stevens Masterclass in Two-Dimensional Horror returns 2025. So if you're not familiar, Dwellings is, you can see it's like this Harvey Comics pastiche. You think of like Harvey Comics like Casper and Richie Rich from back in the day, but it's definitely adult horror. This is not for kids at all. But that's amazing. Good news. Okay, so it's not just the All Hallows Eve special, it actually is returning for a full series. Looking forward to giving Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees a read finally. Me too. I've heard nothing but great things about that series. That's another one of those series that is like a horror comic that looks like a kid's comic on its surface, but it's not. It has like a Richard Scarry type art to it. When's the trade paperback come out for that? Beneath the Trees comic TPB. So I know that the trade paperback's coming out relatively soon. Is it in October? Here it is. It's only $17.99. I guess I could share my screen for this one too. Why not? Share screen. Share. Okay. So this is Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees by Patrick Horvath, which I think, Omar of Near Mike Edition interviewed Patrick. So this is $17.99, the paperback. It'll be coming out on September 17th, so next month. But plenty of time for Halloween, which means I'm going to have to pick this up and make sure I include it into my Spooktober plans. But yeah, this small town serial killer, upstanding citizen, and adorable brown bear, Samantha Strong's cardinal rule. After all, there's a sea of perfectly ripe potential victims in the big city just beyond the forest. Dexter meets Richard Scarry's busy town in his twisted debut graphic novel. So yes, I'm definitely stoked for that too. What are your guys' upcoming October plans? Do you have any horror comics that you're recommending or that you're wanting to try out that you're saving for spooky season? And if you want to follow up, what's your favorite horror comic? Maybe there's something that I need to put on my radar before October comes. Drop those in the chat. I really want to. I'm really curious by your guys's. Oh, the worst thing I've read recently is Houses of the Unholy. Harvey Picar's Ghost, the aforementioned. How are you doing, my man? Thank you for joining me. But really, you didn't enjoy. I haven't read that yet. That's the new Brubaker Sean Phillips joint. I was really stoked about it coming out when it was announced because the Satanic Panic movement is something that I'm always fascinated by. I even went down a rabbit hole this past summer in anticipation for this comic, watching a bunch of documentaries about the Satanic Panic movement. But I've not read the comic yet. I've been kind of holding out. Are you normally a Brubaker Phillips fan, Harvey Picar's Ghost? And why was it so bad? Do you think they've lost a beat? Are they not as good as they once were? The great duo of crime comics, Phillips and Brubaker. Because I love Reckless. Reckless is like the Reckless series. I loved all 5 books in that series. I kind of wish they would continue on. I think they will eventually get back to that series, but I hope they do it sooner rather than later. But I've not read their most recent ones, like Where the Body Lies, I think, and then Night Fever. I've also missed out on that. But Harvey, tell me what you thought about the book. Some other stuff that you can expect on the channel this week. Last week I did my top 10 favorite Marvel omnibuses in my collection. Next week you can expect me to have the top 10 DC omnibuses. I'm going to do that video next week. And then I think I might even go down to other publishers, like my top 10 Dark Horse books, my top 10 Fantagraphics books, that kind of thing. I did do recently I did my top 20 favorite non-superhero comics. I did a 2-part videos for those, and those videos got a pretty good response. That's something I like to highlight on my channel as well. And I'm trying to think what other videos I have planned for you guys. Swiss Magician, planning on reading the Kurosagi Corpse Delivery Service in October. That's a great manga. I read that. I started reading it digitally. I need to get back to it because if you have Hoopla, any Hoopla fans out there, Dark Horse has put all of their manga on Hoopla, which is awesome. So they have like Berserk, the entirety of Berserk's on there. Kurosagi Corpse Delivery Service is on there. Then they even have like some out of print manga that we haven't seen in print in a long time, like Appleseed. Is on there, which is one that people are always asking to come back into print. And then I'm planning on going in October. I'm going to be reading horror comics every day, starting with The Walking Dead, Philadelphia, Universal Monsters, Dracula, Frankenstein, and Dracula by George Bess in Little Monsters. Well, Chris, I have a haul coming up in a little bit that will have 2 of those books. I have, I think, so I have Universal Monsters Dracula, which I'm really excited about. That one's got, it was written by James Tynion IV and drawn by Martin Simmons. So it's like the duo that did Department of Truth, which is an awesome comic book series on that book. And then Frankenstein and Dracula by George Bess. I have Frankenstein coming my way. Dracula was not in stock at the retailer I got it from. And The Little Monsters by Lemire, I was actually gifted the first 8 issues of that in single issues. So maybe I should give that a shot as well, because I still haven't read those. So yes, there is some crossover there of what I'm reading and what Chris is reading. So that's great. And then I do have some Junji Ito too I've been reading lately. I'm trying to think of other horror comics that I can let you guys know about. Horror manga even. The book UFO, let me show that off. The UFO Mushroom Invasion by Living the Line. I think they have some sample pages on their website. They do, because this book looks awesome. I can't wait to dive into it when I get a chance. But let me share my screen here. So if you guys missed my video talking about Living the Line, please go watch it after the stream. But they now have a new manga imprint where Ryan Holmberg is helping them with translation. And this is the latest release. This just came out like this week. It's called the UFO Mushroom Invasion. It is a one and done manga, so it's only one volume, and it's a classic manga from the 70s or 80s, I believe. But it's by Shirokawa Marina. And oh, okay. That's a whole little slideshow here. Let's do this. All right, let me make sure you can still see that. It's a little delayed. Give it a second. Hold on. Jake's in the house. Hey, friends. Hello. I was just talking about how I appeared on your channel last month. Share this tab instead. There we go. Okay. So here's the cover for UFO Mushroom Invasion. And then here's some sample pages. There's the title page. But this artwork is awesome. So it's classic manga from the 70s or 80s, so it's got that style to it. But also it just like feels like a 1950s science fiction movie. Like one of those science fiction B movies you'd see on a Saturday night. And yeah, I just can't wait to read this. I wonder if we're going to see any of the mushroom people in here. Oh, there's some crazy surreal artwork too. But there's these mushroom people. They even sent me a sticker. It's on my laptop now. Oh, there's some cool artwork too right there. So UFO Mushroom Invasion by Living the Line. Support a smaller publisher and check that book out. Okay. Where the Body Lies and Night Fever were both incredibly bad too. Are you are you a Brubaker Phillips fan or a Brubaker Phillips hater? I've not read these, but I'm just asking because I've not heard that those things are bad. I recommend Strange Embrace by David Hein as the great overlooked horror comics. I'm instantly putting that into my David Hein. I think didn't he? Yeah, that's on my list now. Harvey Picard. Thank you for the recommendation. David Hein, though, didn't he? That name sounds familiar. Did he work with Shaky Kane on some comics? Oh, that looks eerie. Yeah, that looks like surreal horror, and I'm into it. David Hein. I feel like that name sounds familiar. I know I've read something from him. Oh yes, Bulletproof Coffin by Shaky Kane, which I think I have. I thought I had it in my reach. Sorry. Bulletproof Coffin. Oh, I do. Look at that. It's at the bottom of the stack though. Let me make sure I look at that. David Hein. Hein and Kane's Bulletproof Coffin. I knew that name sounded familiar. Shaky Kane's great. I love all his work. So yes, I love Bulletproof Coffin, so I'll definitely check out Strange Embrace. Thank you, Harvey. Living the Line Publishing has some cool stuff. Finally picked up the first Moonray recently. Yeah, so you'll see a lot of content on my channel about Living the Line soon. Shrooms. I might have missed it earlier, but have you read Her Frankenstein? Looks awesome. I picked it up at the library, actually. I don't know if that's within my reach right now, but I will be reading that as well. Oh, there it is. Her Frankenstein, which was Living the Line Smudge Imprint's first release. But yeah, so I'll be showing that off on my channel as well. So I found this really cool local library. Um, the closest library to my house doesn't have the greatest graphic novel section, comic book graphic novel section. They have a pretty good manga section and a pretty good comics for kids section, but like their normal like Western comics and graphic novels, not so great. But I found out that through our library card, we can get accounts easily through relatively close libraries. So there's one library I found that's like down the road, and I talked about this on one of my library haul videos. But right when I walked in, I saw they had dwellings on the shelf, and I was like, "All right, I'm in." Like, if this library's got dwellings, like face front, right when you walk in the door, this is a good library to be in. And since then, I found some really cool books at that library that I've been going to. So that's where I found Her Frankenstein. Panorama of Hell by Hideshi Hino is a great horror manga that was re-released somewhat recently. Was that the one that was released by what's that publishing company? It's like it's a weird one, isn't it? I want to say Hino. Yeah, they did Pig Farm as well. Panorama of Hell. They have a weird name. The publishing company. Because I was looking at Hideshi Hino because I do want to read some of his stuff as well because his stuff is definitely up my alley. Trying to see Panorama of Hell because it's a weird publishing company that they're like the only publishing company selling any Hideshi Hino stuff. I want to say they have some sort of fruit in their name. Starfruit? Is it Starfruit? Starfruit manga. Yes, Starfruit Books. That's what it's called. Let me present. Share screen. Share screen. Starfruit Books is the company, which I've not ordered from this before. Let me know if you have anybody in the chat. Like this one looks cool. Wonder House of Horrors. This is a 10-story horror anthology by Miyako Kojima that is sometimes kooky, sometimes gory, sometimes positively profound. Looks to be one of their recent releases. Let's check out their books. Bestseller, all manga. Drunks, Far, Far Away, Handyman Quincy. There's Panorama of Hell. Oh, it's a pre-order. And there's a Cult Detective, Graveyard of the Death Dolls, which looks like another Hideshi Hino book. Pop Life Volume 1 looks cool. Tatarism is Takayama Tatari's selected works. Yeah, so they're like a really small manga publisher, but the stuff they're putting out is really cool. Town of Pigs, that's another Hideshi Hino manga I had my eye on. So yes, that's definitely on my short list as well. Yeah, David Hein and Shiki Kane work together. Both great. Mermaid Saga is a horror manga you would love. Oh, that's by dang it, I forget the name. Meisana Koku. I know the manga did that one as well. I forget the manga's name, but I know she did Meisana Koku and she did Mermaid Saga. That's another one I need to put on my short list, so I'm gonna write that down too. I wonder if any of the libraries around here have Mermaid Saga available because I know that's like 2 volumes, right? I'm going to also look through my library to find some horror comics to pick up. Yeah, if your library, obviously Hoopla is a good source for digital comics. And pretty much every Dark Horse and Image comic is on there. Fantagraphics puts most of their stuff on Hoopla, so you can find quite a bit of these comics on there digitally. But if you want physical copies, because you like to read physical comics like I do, look at your library, but then also see if your library is part of a network of other libraries. Like I do know the library I'm talking about that's closest to me that doesn't have the great comic selection. They but they're attached in a network of libraries too, where I can order a comic through them, and that library will send it to them and I still have to go pick it up, which is nice as well. So not only are they attached to other libraries I can go to physically, but I can order books through them and check them out for free, just like you do your normal library. Strange Fruit or something like that. Starfruit, yes. I haven't ordered directly from them. Well, neither have I. I ordered from Starfruit like 2 years ago. Never received my books, and they also have not answered any of my mails. Oh, that is unfortunate, and also scares me a little bit because I was going to order directly from them for some of these books. Not sure why it's a pre-order, maybe yeah, I think it must be because I do know that book came out, so maybe it is a pre-order for a reprint. Because they're a smaller publisher, so I wonder if they're trying to get an idea of how many they need to print in the second printing, how many units. Rumiko Takahashi, yes, the princess of manga. Yes, Rumiko Takahashi is a mangaka I need to read more of, especially Meisana Koku. The high praise that Omar and Melanie have given that manga has made me want to read that one, and I love a good love story, so I think I'd enjoy that one. But yeah, Mermaid Saga is one. Maybe I could dip my toes into the Rumiko Takahashi waters there with that one, and check that one out. And it would also line up with my. Sorry, I'm trying to check my line up with my Spooktober plans. Then let me see here. Oh, okay. Renee Spawn. Sup Taylor, been enjoying Superman Golden Age Omni Volume 1. Pretty wholesome stories. Oh, Renee, you know what? Actually, thank you, Renee, for chiming in, because you posted this in my Discord, which I have a Discord now. I'm not sure how to get you guys the link. This is what I need. I need to make James Abel a mod still. Because I don't even know what my Discord link is. I also need to put this Discord link into my videos. See, I've never gotten on Discord on my laptop, so I wonder if I'm even logged in on there. Give me a second, everybody here. Log in. Oh, you know what? I actually posted a link on my YouTube channel. On my posts, so I can just find it there. But yeah, I'm trying to get this Discord going. It's a good place to chat about all things to do with comics, and there's even channels on there for other geek related hobbies like pro wrestling and movies and everything like that. But I want it to be open conversation for everybody to be able to just chat about things, chat about books they're hauling or reading or anything like that. Here we go. I don't even know if this is going to show up. Will it show up if I post it in here? I don't know. If that doesn't show up as an actual link, it'll be in the description of this video when I'm done. And also, if you go to my community tab on my YouTube, there's a post about it. And I'll make a post about it on my social medias too. But just, okay, James Abel says he sees the link. Thank you. But yeah, get onto the Discord, join it, and let's chat. Let's get the conversations going. And thank you to Hess, by the way. My buddy Unholy Hess, the best Street Fighter gamer I've ever met in my life. He's the one that helped set it up with me or for me. I don't think he's watching the chat right now or the video, but he's on there as Unholy Hess, and he's a badass Street Fighter player online. So if any of you are big Street Fighter fans online and you want to challenge him, he's always open to a challenge. But he's the one that helped me set that up. So thank you, Hess. Sup Taylor, I've been enjoying Superman Golden Age. Pretty awesome stories. Surprise aspect of these stories are the toxic relationship between Lois and Clark. It's almost comical. That's yeah, that's an aspect of a lot of those earlier comics. Like the one I read most recently, that had a really funny toxic relationship. Last year, I went through and read a bunch of Flash comics, including the Silver Age Flash, and the relationship there, where she's always like getting on Flash about how slow he is and how unreliable he is, and how great the Flash is, because she obviously doesn't know his secret identity. So it's very similar in all those comics, but it is kind of funny. Only mods can. I know, James. I need to make you a mod. I just need to figure out how. I'm really dumb with these things, but so Renee has been posting in the Discord about reading Golden Age Superman, which is great. I love that anybody's reading Golden Age or Silver Age comics. Obviously, if you're a fan of this channel, you know that I'm a fan of those eras of comics. And Golden Age Superman is getting reprinted in the DC Finest line if you're looking for a cheaper way to read it. I think it's like 600 pages of a trade paperback that collects like the first 600 or so pages of Golden Age Superman. That's coming out this fall. And then the omnibus is pretty easy to find as well. And then Batman Golden Age Omnibus Volume 1 just got reprinted, and I think Volume 2 has been announced for a reprint. So those are both fun options if you're wanting Golden Age comics. Renee is good. Okay, all right. He's people. No, I can already. Hey, if he's reading Golden Age comics and he's talking to my Discord, that's 2 legs up on being an awesome comic reader in my book. It's weird seeing James without link power. I know. I just it's not anything that I have against James. I actually am amazed and appreciate James' super producer powers that he displays every live stream that I'm a part of or watch in the comics YouTubing community. And I'd like him to be able to use those powers on here. I just need to figure out how. So I'm sure it's easy. I think Josh even showed me how one time. I'm just also busy is my excuse, not lazy. I'm busy, right? No? Okay. Blood on the Tracks by Shuzo Ashimi is a different horror manga, mostly psychological with great art. Okay, Swiss Magician. I've heard that manga title and I've heard it's super popular. I didn't realize it was like psychological horror though. So it's not on my radar. I didn't realize that's the genre that would fit into. Obviously, Blood on the Tracks, the name you'd think would elicit that kind of response from me, but I thought it was more of a slice of life type thing with like a tragic story to it. I've heard a little bit about what it's about, so that's interesting. That's on my list as well. I have quite a few things to add to my list here. And Monsters is not horror but psychological suspense and recommend. Are you talking about Monsters by Barry Windsor Smith? One of the greatest comics of the modern age. I'll give you a little peek behind the curtain. You'll definitely be seeing that in the month of October on this channel. I absolutely love that comic. I did do a top 10 comics of 2019, 2020, 2021. I forget what year it was. Whatever year this came out, actually, which I guess I can look at. I did that video on my channel, the top 10 comics of that year. And this was number 1. Where's the indicia for this? 2021. Oh. No, monster manga but you said monsters, plural. Isn't that just called Monster? Now you got me all worked up about Barry Windsor Smith. Yeah, you said the wrong thing, Josh. Your typo just threw me into a tailspin of talking about a different comic. Anyways, I'm going to talk about it anyways. Barry Windsor Smith, Fangraphix put this out in 2021. It's amazing. I think it's a modern masterpiece of comics. Barry Windsor Smith worked on it for over 20 years, I think almost 30 years. And it's the last comic that he'll ever put out, which is a shame, but I think it's his magnum opus. Barry Windsor Smith, who also did Weapon X, which I think is one of the greatest Marvel comics of all time. He's originally Monster started off as a Hulk story that he did, and he proposed to Jim Shooter back in the Jim Shooter editor era of Marvel. And Jim Shooter and Anna Cinti at the time, I think, said it was too violent or too coarse, some of the language and stuff that he was using. that they would have to shelve it and maybe release it as an OGN later. It never came to be. I think it also bounced around to certain publishers throughout the 90s. I think Dark Horse might have had it at one point. I think DC even was thinking about putting it out at one point. And obviously, with DC and Dark Horse, it was no longer a Hulk story. It was just a monster story, or he's going to have to rework some of the names and things. And then Fantagraphics picked it up and put it out in 2021. Gary Groth, publisher of Fantagraphics, when he was promoting the comic, famously said that this would have been Marvel's Watchmen of the 80s and 90s if they had released it the way that Barry Windsor Smith wanted them to. And I have to say, I don't disagree. If they had released it with the same kind of publicity and promotion that DC put behind Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen, I think it could have been up there. I feel the same way about Weapon X. I said that on I have a video showing off that gallery edition, which is over there. I don't want to reach it right now, but where I think that would have, I don't understand why that's not upheld as one of Marvel's greatest stories and up there with Watchmen and Dark Knight Returns, especially because it came out a few years later, I guess like 5 years after those stories. But I think the only reason why it might not be held up that high is because the way it was released. It was released as it was serialized through Marvel Comics Presents. If it had been given this prestige format of like a Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen and released one chapter every few months or something, or let Barry Windsor Smith catch up to the schedule, because he couldn't have done it monthly, not in full prestige format, I think it would have been held up that high. There's a lot of promotion behind Watchmen and Dark Knight Returns, and rightfully so. Those are great comics. I'm not saying that they're overrated or anything. Like, they're completely masterpieces. But I think the promotion helped kind of elevate it to that standard as well. So this is my long-winded way of saying that Monsters by Barry Windsor Smith is absolutely incredible and should be read by everybody. Urasawa is one of the best comic creators of all times. He also does a YouTube show about manga creators. Yeah, called Manbend, I believe it's called. I love Urasawa. I've not read Monster though. I've read 20th Century Boys, which is a masterpiece. Like that comic is incredible. And also I've read Asadora, I think, by him. So I've always wanted to read Monster, but it's just, I think maybe I'll check the library circuit, because manga is so hard for me sometimes because of shelf space, and that's like a longer series. But I'll check maybe my library circuit. Maybe they have some volumes I can read. Monsters is the only BWS comic I've ever read, and it's definitely a masterpiece. Well, I recommend Weapon X by Barry Windsor Smith. And I will pull it out only because he said that. Marvel released it in this great gallery edition. This is the only way that Marvel's reprinted it with good coloring, good recoloring of Barry Windsor Smith, because he did color this, and it's oversized. This is the best Marvel gallery edition. There's sometimes not all Marvel gallery editions are the best. They have gone kind of, I don't know. I really feel like this could be their prestige format. I know they're doing the Marvel Masterpieces format, which is going to be like the same trim size, but they're supposed to be kind of similar to the Taschen editions. I don't know. I'll look forward to see how those turn out. But some of the gallery editions are like, the scans are weird, and they format it weird too, with like the thing on the side of the page. But that one's not. The Weapon X one is definitely the best of the gallery editions. I think my video even calls it like the best collected edition Marvel's ever released, because of the attention to care of the coloring that they did, which they had not done in previous reprints of that material. And then also just that it's oversized, it's formatted properly, and it's just a beautiful book. So if you liked Monsters, Harvey Pekar, I would highly recommend that. I do think the writing is better in Monsters, but that one is like a masterpiece of artwork for sure. So there you go. My typos do that. Been meaning to read Monsters though. Thanks for the reminder. I know he wanted it to be a Hulk story. Yes. Josh really wants me to get into ElfQuest now with the new announcement of the hardcover, but Won't there be 100 volumes? I know. So what the heck is that? Because there's 1/4, like 25. I wish they made them thicker. Yeah, it's like they're releasing in color, um, but they're really thin volumes. What is going on there? I don't like that move at all because it is a long series. Um, like thick trades, I feel like is the way to go. But ElfQuest I've never read though. It's a series I've always wanted to read. My library had it back in the day, but I always kind of avoided it because I'm not fantasy with like elves and orcs and stuff like Tolkien kind of stuff has never been my vibe. I have enjoyed stories with those things in it, so I'm not like totally against it. But my point is, when I saw it in the library as a kid, because my library even then didn't have very much stuff. That's why I checked out Frank Miller's Daredevil like 100 times and read that over and over and over again because that's like one of the few comics they had. Um, but they had ElfQuest, and I just never checked it out, and I've always kind of wanted to. But this, when I first saw the announcement, I was like, "Oh, ElfQuest in color, new editions, kind of cool." Not that I don't have an aversion to black and white, um, but they're like thin hardcovers. Like, what's going on there? I don't almost rather just get the thick trade paperbacks from Dark Horse and try it out that way. I don't believe you, Josh. You never do, Renee. You never do. Marvel makes weird choices with their gallery. I like the or the Sale and Loeb color, but hate the book design. Right. Which I have to say, I've always been critical of Marvel's book design. Actually, I almost got in trouble on Omar's show the other day because I made a comment about how the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror books by Abrams Comic Arts are amazing. The way they designed it with the slipcase and the die cut and glow in the dark, and how if Marvel had done that, it would have been like a boring omnibus. And Omar's like, "What do you mean boring?" He didn't. I didn't really get in trouble. He was just kind of, uh, you know, a little defensive. Just kidding. A total joke. Um, but yeah, so Marvel's book design in general is not always my favorite. I feel like they kind of go lazy on it sometimes, and and I think it's because they don't really have. I don't think they have an in-house book designer. If they do, I'm correct me in the chat or in the comments. I don't think they have like an in-house book designer. I think they just have who's ever like putting the collected edition together also kind of designs the book, and they go with these almost generic, matchy looking things with all their books. But there's some of their choices on their book design really frustrates me as someone that really appreciates good book design and good graphic design. I don't understand their choices a lot of times. And even like I'm not even just talking about like the small font on the omnibus spine, which is like a crime of book design and graphic design. I don't know who thought of that idea and thought it was good. It's awful. But I'm not even just talking about that. I'm talking about things like the gallery editions, where some of them look like someone put actual thought into the idea, and sometimes people were like they couldn't format the pages to fit the gallery trim size, so they put that weird um like piece on the side of the pages where it says like what the book title is, just to fill in that space. And it's just like they did that because I can only think they did that because they wanted all gallery editions to be exactly the same trim size. But if you would have just made the book a little bit shorter on the side, you wouldn't need that. And then you'd solve that problem where it'd still be the same height, it just wouldn't be the same width. But Marvel has these things where they only have X number of trim sizes. They don't want to do anything fun, anything different, which is where I appreciate like a Fantagraphics who has all different trim sizes. Now I understand the argument that Marvel keeps to that consistency because it's easier with printers and then putting out so many books. I understand that, but for certain collections, like a gallery edition, it's like a prestige format. You think they'd be able to change things up a little bit, but I digress. ElfQuest is available for free online. Yes, I think it's become like a webcomic at this point, right? Here's the thing with ElfQuest. It looks like it's for little kids, but it is brutal and things. It's a fun series. I got the Hummel bundle in black and white. Yeah, Marvel collections mostly suck design-wise. Their releases don't really show off the artist's work as well as other major publishers have been able to. I agree. And I actually got into it with someone on Twitter recently because he was deriding Marvel for why they're farming out the Atlas comics to Fantagraphics. He's like, why can't Marvel just print this? And I was like, well, first of all, I'm glad they're not, because the way that Fantagraphics is restoring that artwork, it looks way better than what Marvel would have done anyways. And also the books are cool, like designed in a cooler way. They include back matter by historians like Michael Vasallo that Marvel may or may not have done. The colors aren't oversaturated like Marvel does with the Masterworks program. So I'm glad that they farmed that material, specifically the Atlas era stuff, because that's like older comics. I want it to look like an older comic. I want it to look like how it was originally printed. And Marvel has reprinted some Atlas stuff, and it doesn't look the greatest. They did a good job with the omnibuses. They're actually right here above my head. The Simon and Kirby Atlas era stuff, and the Submariner stuff by Bill Everett, and then Carl Burgos Human Torch omnibuses. I have all 4 of those, and those restorations are pretty great, especially for Marvel doing older material. But yeah, their book design is not the greatest. Evil Simok. Hi everyone, Jordan just discovered your channel from your recent Living the Line unboxing. Good stuff. I really enjoyed UFO Mushroom Invasion. Thank you for joining me. I'm glad you discovered my channel. Hope you subscribed. Everyone else, make sure you hit that subscribe button, bell notification icon, all that stuff. I'm glad you enjoyed that though. I'm reading that within the next couple days. I'm super stoked on that book. It looks so up my alley with everything that it has in it that I showed off earlier with the artwork and things. So I'm glad to hear that someone enjoyed it. Also, galleries feel kind of cheap compared to absolutes. They don't have that flagship really. I love the omnibus, but they are limited. Dark Horse do better books for cheap. I mean, no ribbon. The thing with Dark Horse though, and I don't know all the bells and whistles of this, but when Dark Horse does like Mike Mignola Hellboy library editions, they look beautiful, right? But they're only having to really pay Mike Mignola and maybe a couple other artists that might have worked on the book. With Marvel and DC, if there's all these other creators on it, if they are part of the royalties program, which is not always consistent, like there's some certain eras where they are, like the Jim Shooter era, the royalty program was really great for the way of creators. So it's not always consistent. What I'm saying now isn't always accurate. But if they have to pay all of the creators involved in the omnibus, the letterers, the colorists, the inkers, pencilers, writers, there's so many more names in the pot. I can see why they can't invest in the collected, why their prices are a little bit higher than for like a Dark Horse or Image. With that said, I do think the gallery editions could be better, but they aren't priced like the absolutes though. So they feel cheap compared to them, but they also aren't priced the same. If they were like $100 a book, which is kind of like where the average absolute is priced at, 100 to 150, then I would be like even, lambasting this format even more. But they're priced at $30-$40. So I guess like, I'm not too mad about it. But those masterpiece editions they're coming out with that are the same size as the gallery editions, but they're supposed to be collecting it's like their absolute edition. Like that's going to be where we can compare them. When we see that book design, that thoughtfulness that they do or do not put into the book, we're going to wait and see on that, because those are priced at like $100. I really liked how DC designed the black and white Showcase Presents books. Wish they had continued with the black and white affordable reprint series. Yeah, that was like their answer to the Marvel Essentials line. And there's actually been some of those that I've been trying to hunt down to try out some of that older material, because of the black and white line art. The black and white line art looks really good in some of those. And for some of the material they haven't ever reprinted besides those, but they seem like they're getting to those with the DC Finest right now. So counterpoint, Dark Horse doesn't have the war chest like Marvel and DC. Also with Silver Age, they aren't paying for letters or colorists. Well, I don't know that to be true as far as letters and colorists go. I know DC has retroactively gone back and credited letters and colorists in those Silver Age collections, especially like Batman Silver Age Batman Omnibus is funny, because if you go in there and look at the actual issues of those books, the only name you'll see inside the actual issue is Bob Kane, and he had like F all to do with those comics. You think Bob Kane has done much at all with Batman as far as like what he did on the creation of Batman, like early in the Golden Age? By Silver Age, he had nothing to do with those comics, but he was the only name you'd find in those issues. So that was like even a bigger crime than anything he was doing. Bob Kane, just obviously, I could go down I do a whole episode on Bob Kane and what he did as far as creator rights go and creator credits. But if you find it in the table of contents, though, DC has credited the writer, the artist, the letters, the colorist, if they have the information. They don't always have the information retroactively to go back and find out who did those comics. But are they paying them still? I don't know. They could just be crediting them and not paying them. I have no idea. Yes, Marvel and DC are also owned by huge billion-dollar conglomerates, but they have obviously not invested into their comic books. So they don't have access to the war chest that you're referring to, which is another topic in itself. But, hope everyone is requesting your Ignatz ballots and voting the correct way. Harvey, I was just going to wrap up the show soon. I wish you would have brought that up. I would have gone over the Ignatz ballots. When does it end? Is it something I could talk about next week? Ignatz Awards. Small Press Expo. Oh, so they announced them at the SPX. Okay. And that's September 15th, 14th. Next week will be good to talk about it. Then it'll be the week before. So there we go, Harvey. Thank you for the topic. Next week, we're going to go over the Ignatz ballots. So look forward to that. That'll be the topic for next week. I like Evil. I miss the Essentials line for older comics. I like it for some of the stuff. I do prefer color if it was originally in color for like the Marvel stuff, because I really like the coloring that they had back then. But like EC Comics, I have the Fantagraphics versions of those, and they're all black and white, and it's really great to see the line art like that. I do have the Essentials for the Hulk magazine, though, which is great. It's my most wanted Marvel omnibus. That artwork looks great in the black and white Essentials. Thanks. Me too, Josh. Missed the Essentials. Ignatz are dead to me because Bang didn't get in. Oh, that sucks. Sorry, Josh. Maybe next year, though. Maybe next year. September 10th, maybe. Nate Garcia for Outstanding Artist. Yeah, I saw he's nominated for Flippy, right? Which is really cool. And I also saw Nate Garcia had some spot illustrations in, is it the latest Comics Journal? So I'm really waiting for Fantagraphics to announce the a Nate Garcia hardcover of some sort. I know it's going to happen one day. I said it was going to happen when he first sent me Horn Rim issue number 1, and I showed it off on my channel. I said, this guy's going to be, his comics are going to be released with Fantagraphics one day, I can tell. So I'm just waiting for it to happen. It is awesome that we're getting Josh Pettinger. We're getting the Santos Sisters by Greg and Fake next year through Fantagraphics. So Fantagraphics has some really cool stuff coming out from up-and-coming cartoonists. But I think I'm going to go through my closing preamble here. I wanted to go just about an hour. I went over hour, 20 minutes. And so I'm going to close up the show. And while I'm closing up and doing my plugs, put any last comments or questions, and then I'll address those after my my whatever plugs. So I do have a Discord. The link is in the chat earlier if you scroll up. It's also on my community tab on YouTube, and I'm going to put it in the description of all my videos going forward. So join the Discord and chat along with the rest of us that love comics. No, sorry, I'll get to your comments. Over at organicpricebooks.com, put in your orders. They are back up and running as of today. They just changed warehouses. They moved to a bigger warehouse, upgraded their facilities, and they're backing up and running today. So put an order in today. Get that new warehouse, working in there. But if you ordered through them, use the promo code Taylor Talks Comics, all one word. That will save you $2 off your order. Or if you can put a bigger order in, which you should, four or more books, you're going to use the one that's scrolling at the bottom of your screen right now. TTC, ship it together, all one word. TTC, ship it together. Use that on an order of 4 or more books, and you'll save 5% off that larger order. All my social media links are down below in the description. Tomorrow or the next day will be my Batman Year One overview video will be coming out. Also, my top 10 favorite DC omnibuses that I have in my collection. That video will be coming out soon as well. Switchblade Shorties on Zoop. Yes, Ed Piskor's last work of his career was Switchblade Shorties. It was a daily comic strip that he was putting out all the way up to the time of his passing. He's putting it out, but a collection of all of those comic strips will be released through Zoop, which is a crowdfunding campaign. It's like Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and that launches September 24th, I believe. So the Piskor family is putting that together. They just had the Eddie P Comic Con this past weekend. It seems like it's a really big success for them. They'll be doing it every year, it seems like, in Pittsburgh, which is really cool. But yeah, Switchblade Shorties is the first posthumous release of Ed Piskor that they'll be doing. I know they have plans to do Mudfish, which is his autobio comics that he always said, even when he's with us still, that he doesn't want to release these autobio comics till after he's gone. So they do have plans for that. And then some other things. So September 24th, and I'm sure I'll talk about that when we get closer to time as well. No matter how many people tell me Santos Sisters is good, I've never fallen for it. You need to try it out, Harvey. It's good stuff. I also haven't opened my Year One Artist Edition yet. Let's open it together. How about that? I think the only other Artist Edition I have is Charles Burns' Black Hole. I want that one so bad. One day they'll reprint that, right? I really hope so. I think does that include the whole story? All Black Hole? I love Black Hole. It's my all-time favorite horror comic. And I want that Artist Edition. Charles Burns, great. So thank you guys for watching. Keep reading comics. Keep watching my channel. Subscribe. Comment down below if you're watching this on the replay. And give the video a thumbs up. That sort of engagement helps YouTube see that people like my content, and they'll put it in front of eyes of people that don't know my content exists. So that always helps. And subscribe, share it on your social media. All that stuff is very helpful for me, and I really appreciate that. I'm pretty sure it's not the whole thing. Okay, well, it still has Charles Burns' original art, and I want it. So anyways, everyone, have a great day. Catch you later.